Here we are for our second round. Let's see if we can pilot the deck a little better this time. Definitely can't keep that. This seems fine. Don't think I want a second copy of Exhume, especially if I'm lining up a Commune or a Satyr Wayfinder. But we'll start off by fetching a Forest here. So turn 1 Forest. So the big question is, next turn, do I want a Commune or do I want a Wayfinder? Since I have the Exhume, I'm leaning towards the Wayfinder, so that we can definitely bin a Crusher. Faithless Looting. Same plan. Because I don't want to delay myself a turn. And I don't really need... I couldn't play this turn anyway, and I don't really need the mountain quite yet. So my opponent going to daze this? That'd be interesting. So that's good. We bin 2 Dragon Fangs. And we get a mountain, so we can definitely Faithless Looting next turn. Although, is that the play? We could Faithless Looting, but we really don't have anything to discard to Faithless Looting. So we'd have to hope to grab a creature in the top 2. It might be better to Commune. Not 100% there. Opponent's playing some form of Slivers, so that's interesting. Grizzly Salvage, eh? So yeah, the big question is, do we Commune or do we loot? I'm leaning towards communing because that way we can definitely set up an Exhume next turn. Or hopefully set up an Exhume next turn. You know what, I can do both. Since I can do both, it's actually probably better to lead off with the Faithless. Because that way if I hit a creature in the top 2 cards, I can discard it and Exhume. Alright, so did not get that. So let's discard my land, I suppose. Then I can Grizzly Salvage and get another land card. So yeah, let's get our swamp. And that way we can set up 2 Exhumes. So, actually, yeah, next turn I'm going to Commune with the Gods and try and bin a Dragon's Fangs. So that way we can give our Crusher haste. And my opponent... maybe I should have attacked last turn. I would rather this Wing Sliver not be in play. And my opponent... There's no way he would block my Satyr Wayfinder. So, pretty interesting stuff. Well, yeah, that's going to be a problem if I can't deal with it. Flying Evasive Poison Slivers. That's going to be a very fast clock, so I need to... So, like, worst case scenario, my opponent can do 6 more poison damage if they have Virulent Sliver next turn. Yeah, let's lead off with our Commune. That works out. Now let's Exhume Crusher. Give him Trample. We'll just do one of them. I don't need both on him. So it is unfortunate that we could not find a copy. We found both copies of Dragon's Fangs, but no copies of Dragon's Breath in our top cards here. So that's not as good, but next turn we can flash back the Faithless Looting, try and bin 1, and worst case, delve this Gurmag Angler. So now I have to hope my opponent... You know, the Sliver deck probably isn't playing any removal. Blue makes me think that maybe they could have Vapor Snag, which would be the absolute worst case scenario because then the Ulamox Crusher is back in my hand instead of in the graveyard. But I have a backup Crusher in the graveyard. My opponent has played an Evolving Wilds, so that feels good because I know my opponent can't get too crazy here with their mana. They can't play 2 Lords this turn, for instance. White, green, perhaps Muscle Sliver. Okay, the Vigilant Sliver. That's no big deal. So yeah, the play is going to be flashback the Faithless Looting, hope to get the haste thing. I have to draw a land to get this to work, actually, because the looting costs 3. Okay, well, there's Dragon's Breath, so now, yeah, definitely flashing back Faithless Looting. Is this how I want to do this? Yeah, I need to... Okay, so I have to draw a land here with Faithless Looting for this to work, yeah. So, yeah, let's flash that back. Drew the land. Bin. Exhume. Grab the Crusher. Hopefully this works. My microphone is being really screwy right now. Definitely want to bring in the Edicts. Want to bring in a Doomblade. So 4 pieces of spot removal for the Lords. Let's take out 2 Communes. A Grizzly Salvage. And a Crusher, I guess? I don't know. Sideboarding for this deck, it seems hard. So, we did swing for the win last game. I hope that my splotchy audio did not prevent you from seeing that. So this is game 2 of match 2. Opponent's on the play, opponent playing what looks like Bant Slivers, and we are on Jund Reanimator. Hand seems okay. Really needs a Faithless Looting to get going, but we have most of our land. So this is a really interesting keep. So we have to find the Faithless Looting, but we could flash it back if we hit it with Wayfinder. Worst case scenario, we can get this Mandrills. So I'm going to keep it because Satyr, Wayfinder, the reason I kept all 4 of them in the deck over some of the other ones is because they can block this guy. Or they can block Slivers, which is really nice. Okay, we get an Exhume. So we have the combo set up. We just need to find a Faithless Looting. Let's hope my opponent's draw isn't too fast here. I could see an argument for Electrickery in this matchup. The problem is the Lords really blank that as soon as they hit the table. Alright, double Virulent Sliver is actually something to be pretty concerned about because this means my opponent is attacking me for 2 poison damage this turn, 4 next turn, because the poison triggers do stack. So, like, here Electrickery would be awesome, but I just don't see it. Well, there you go, Faithless Looting. So, still need a black source, actually, and because of that, I'm going to play the Wayfinder. See if we can grab our black source. I wonder if my opponent is playing Daze. I can't imagine. Yeah, there we go. Also get us a nice blocker. We hit our Swamp. So that's great. Next turn we can Faithless Looting into the Exhume. Make our deck look incredibly good. So worst case, my opponent plays 2 more Virulent Slivers here. The Gale Sliver I don't really care about because I'm going to be... Actually, I think I do care about this. Mostly because my opponent can attack for lethal next turn. And I cannot attack my opponent for lethal this turn. So... I think we played correctly. We were just too slow to beat this draw. Because, yeah, well, that's actually really good. That makes me not want to... Yeah, this spot removal might actually win us the game. Yeah, so now I actually kind of can't... I have to Doomblade this Winged Sliver is what I'm getting at here in order to have a shot at winning this game. I'll just go ahead and pass turn and see if my opponent will play anything else. Although, honestly, everything is kind of bad right now. But if I can kill the Wing Sliver, block... Okay, if my opponent has 2 Wing Slivers, then this game is just over. Yeah, cannot beat that. So that makes me wonder if Electrickery maybe is good here. It just doesn't seem good. If they get a Lord, it's just over. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a trap to boarding the Electrickery. Like, I would have beaten that draw, but that's kind of it. This seems good. We have all of our mana available. We have a Dragon's Breath. We just need to wait. We just need to get stuff when they bin and then get an Exhume. So start off with the Mountain. My opponent might play around Bolt, although I highly doubt it. Since my opponent has 3 colors, their deck is a little slower, which is nice. Alright, Chainer's Edict is a great draw there. Let's go ahead and get our blocker on the board. Doomblade going in the yard, I'm not really a fan of, but now we have the Faithless Looting. And we do also have the Swamp for Edict. And I will probably Edict a Lord. I mean, you gotta kind of Edict them as they come, right? I'll Edict that. Yeah, so... Edict you. I have to throw my opponent's tempo off, and, you know, if they play a smaller sliver, the Edict will eat that one instead. And it's better to, you know, use your Edicts when your opponent doesn't really have a choice, in my opinion. So, first, okay, Winged Sliver, that's... Whew, my opponent didn't follow it up. You know, I could see an argument for Firebolt in this deck. So do we Grizzly Salvage or do we Faithless Looting? That is tough because we don't really have anything good in the yard. So I think it is correct to salvage here. Yeah, let's grab a Swamp. But then let's fetch for a Forest. Oh, I guess we could have played the Sultai Scavenger. That was probably incorrect of me to fetch this Forest. Because, yeah, I could have played this Salvager here. It would have been fine. I could block this Wing Sliver. I also could have attacked there. Yeah, I'm just, you know, deck's not my wheelhouse, so... Yeah, now the Salvager is going to be... The Sultai Scavenger, I mean, is going to be good. 1, 2, 3, 4, so I don't... Yeah, I have enough to scavenge. And... Okay, Angler's a good draw as well. I'd rather get the Scavenger online just because I know it can block. But first, I actually think I'm going to... I think I'm going to salvage and then scavenge. So I have some more stuff in the yard. Yeah, see, now I can get the Dragon's Breath and the Dragon Fangs onto an Angler next turn. But I think it is correct to this guy. He doesn't need... You know, he could be good with Fire Breathing. So I will give him that. No, I won't give him that, because that also gives haste. So we'll play him as a blocker. In the next turn, we will hope to... Angler with the auras. That seems fine. And at worst, my Scavenger will trade with a Winged Sliver. If my opponent plays another Lord here, I guess absolute worst case, my opponent plays another 2 Lords, and I'll wish the Dragon Breath was on the Scavenger so that I could Fire Breathe. Okay, there's 1 Lord. If my opponent doesn't have a land, I think we're in good shape here. Opponent doesn't have another one and chooses to pass, which is fine with me. There is a Faithless Looting. Let's go ahead and fire that off first. I guess we bin the Dragon's Breath, bin the Forest. Now let's bin a Wilds, so that way we can start flashing back Chainer's Edict next turn if we need to, because this turn we'll go Expanse, grab another Mountain, I suppose. Delve this guy. I don't want to delve that guy. Delve, 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 delve. I guess we are delving that guy. Commune with Nature, can delve that. Yeah, I'd rather delve the Mandrills over the other Angler, I think. We'll give him one of the hastes. You know, could see an argument for using the other Angler, but I think I want this removal. And that's mostly because I want to be able to flash back some of these things. Yeah, so let's not do that. Well, let's attack with our 6/6. Opponent taking 6 here. We'll pass the turn, and next turn we can start edicting our opponent. Perfect. Just in that opponent does not have access to tons of mana. Or 4 mana, rather. So hopefully my opponent does not have another Lord here, because that would mean my opponent could attack. It would make my blocking very bad. But, you know, they do have a lot of Lords, so the odds are fairly good. So let's see, I take 12 here. Ugh. I think I have to take 12 here and then start flashing back edicts. Yeah, we'll flash back an edict. Oh, did I just give the game to my opponent again? I might have. Because my opponent can still do 6 damage to me. Yeah, I may have just given the game to my opponent again. This deck has a real problem with flyers. I just could not deal with them. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Oh well. My opponent had another Lord in hand anyway, so it didn't actually matter. Yeah, I just could not beat a Winged Sliver. Alright, show off. I'll see you guys for another round here shortly.